I am so sick and tired of these far right extremists slash activists or whatever you want to call them mentioning these horrible stats to try to demonize black people in America. Before I debunk these stats, I want to show you guys the clips of these far right activists or extremists talking about these stats as if they, invented something. Look.
Do you know that 1 in 22 black men will be a murderer in their lifetime? Let me say that again. 1 in 22 black men will be a murderer in their lifetime. That is according to the FBI data. That's verifiable. It's true.
Stat that's been circulating for years. It says that on average, 1 out of 22 black men will commit a murder in their lifetime.
So when people bring up these stats like blacks make 13% of the population, but they commit 52% of all murders and 90% of all violent interracial crimes, or just like they said, 1 in 22 black men will commit murder. They're very misleading, right? Because crimes comes from condition, not skin color. And those conditions specifically for African Americans were created by history, not genetics, right? No one wakes up and looks in the mirror and says, oh, I'm black, so I'll need to commit a crime or I need to kill someone. That's not the case. Correlation does not equal causation, okay? So let's get into all the different reasons why you see these stats. Because it's not because black people are inferior or that black people are horrible individuals, because what could they possibly benefit bringing up these stats to their, far right members, far right viewers? What do these people gain, right? And that's something I can't ask because one of them has passed away. So let's just go through all the different reasons why you see these stats the way they are today. Because it's not because of their genetics or their skin color. Let's look. So obviously, the first thing that we had to mention is that African Americans, as we know, didn't just appear in America. They went through centuries of slavery, taken from their homes in Africa, endured pain, suffering. For 250 years, black people were enslaved in America, denied education, property, family stability, and basic humanity. Generations built the nation's wealth while owning nothing. Slavery caused economic, social, and psychological trauma that still echoes till this day. Okay, so the next thing, obviously, after the Emancipation Proclamation, it was freedom without equality. Because it didn't just stop after being free. Because after slavery, black Americans were free on paper, but given no land, money, or protections. Black codes and Jim Crow laws forced poverty, segregation, and constant terror. Freedom existed legally, but inequality was embedded socially and economically. The third reason is redlining and housing segregations. It happened from 1930s all the way into the 1960s. So black neighborhoods were labeled high risk for loans, while white families received government-backed mortgages. Most black people were locked out of owned ownership, creating long-lasting wealth gaps. So we can start to see how all of this is leading to destruction. Even though these people are free, it's leading to more in suffering. That would obviously be one of the reasons that you see these stats today. Now, the next thing is unequal education and jobs, right? Because black schools were underfunded, overcrowded, and under-resourced. Because when the segregation was happening, obviously, they had different schools for black people and for white people. So even educated black Americans, they faced higher discriminations and lower pay. Inequality was systematic, not a matter of effort. So you could put 2 times the effort than the white man in front of you, and you would not even get close to what he's earning, what he's getting. The thing after that would be the war on drugs, 1970s all the way into the 1990s. So the war on drugs targeted black communities, right? Because crack cocaine was all across these communities, while the rich white neighborhoods had cocaine, the powder version. Even though it's the same substance, the black communities received harsher sentences than powder cocaine. And also the three strike law, which means after 3 violations of going against the laws, you're done, right? Decades in prison for minor offenses. As I said, arrests were up to 10 times higher than whites for similar drug use. So you can understand how this three strike law literally led to so many black individuals being sent to jail for life, right? In prison for life. And you understand how that affects the whole family dynamic, right? You always hear this meme that they always bring up, fatherless, you're gonna be single mom, yada yada yada. They don't understand all these things behind it. They think just because someone is black that they automatically want to be a single father, want to be a father that just left, right? It's just complete bullshit. Excuse my French. After that, we also have police brutality and systematic bias. So, black neighborhoods are heavily policed, overcharged, and punished more harshly, which means more patrols, which means more arrests, biased sentencing, which means longer prison terms. Police brutality means fear, trauma, and distrust. This explains misleading stats like 1 in 22 black men will commit murder, right? It's not a prediction of behavior, but a distortion of arrest and incarcerations that are amplified by systematic bias, right? And also the moderate ripple effect, meaning all of these things come together. What did that lead to? So, for example, today, in this day and age, a black college grad often has less wealth than white high school dropouts. It's not because they're better than them, it's not because of their skin color. Well, obviously, in this case, it's his skin color because that's why they have it worse. So, and also, for example, neighborhoods face heavier policing and fewer resources. Media and institution reinforce stereotypes. So you see so many things that just make it so hard for black people in America to live a normal life. So you can see the bigger picture now. 250 years of slavery plus 100 years of segregation, decades of biased laws and policing. That's lasting societal damage, right? History, not race. These are the patterns. This explains the patterns. It's not because they're black, right? And these far right activists need to understand race does not equate cause. History equates to cause, right? Because trust me, if it was the other way around, it would work perfectly fine, right? The same way they can use these stats. Imagine someone came out and used those stats against white people. It wouldn't make sense, right? So the stats about black Americans committing 52% of murders and 90% of violent interracial crimes and 1 in 22, it doesn't prove that they're inferior, that black people are just made to fail in life. They reveal a system designed to target, punish, and trap communities, blaming people for oppressionist effects instead of oppressions itself is manipulated ignorance disguised as truth. So I genuinely hope I brought up all the different points that could lead to why you see these stats. And I genuinely hope that other far right activists, even if it's just one person that watches this video, please, the only thing I want you to take from this video is that no one wakes up and looks at themselves and sees, oh, I'm a Muslim. Let me go and commit a terrorist attack. Or I'm a black person. Let me be a thug. Let me be a thug. Let me shoot people for no reason. No one wakes up like that, okay? Stereotypes is not good because it leads to problems like this where people target black people just because what they see on the internet, and specifically from far right influencers like these fellas and all these fatherless memes and all types of madness. It leads to more problems. So please, the only thing I want from this video is just for people to understand, don't listen to these stats, okay? Don't let these stats make you hate black people because this is not about black and white, okay? This is about history and what caused it. Because trust me, it would be the same stats if white people went through all those things, it would be just the same way. So it's not race. So let's stop with this black and white. Okay, let's look at things from a good or bad perspective. Okay, and I hope I didn't say anything wrong. If I did, my mistake. And that's probably it for me. I just wanted to cover this because I've been seeing these things for so long. So I just felt like I had to do a video about it. But anyways, that's all for me. Peace out.